Hello, my name is Vladimir Tikhomirov. I'm chief economist at BCS Global Markets, and I'll give you my view on on this week. The week was not an usual one. We have seen a large spike in volatility on global markets and quite significant sell-off in many equities and commodities, particularly at the start of the week. Oil has tested $31 to the barrel, a level we have not seen for a few years. Ruble followed oil and actually fell through the 75 rubles to the dollar mark, but then rebounded a bit, as well as oil price rebounded. So we are now seeing oil trading at around $35–36 per barrel and ruble at about 71–72 rubles to the dollar. This is some point of stability at the moment, but to say that the sell-off is over could be a bit premature. The big driving factor behind this sell-off was, of course, growing concerns that the virus epidemic could spread over to the two key economic centers in the global economy, which are Europe and US. The cases of coronavirus in both areas are growing quite rapidly, which basically leads investors to believe that the global economy could be quite significantly hit by this epidemic. If so, then of course the global demand for lots of commodities and goods is going to be much weaker, which translates into lower demand for oil and obviously frames the investor attitude to risky assets, including Russian stocks and the currency. Thus far, I should say that ruble performance was fairly good given the situation. Ruble has shown more stability than the oil price, actually. Judging from the volume of FX trade on the domestic market, we have not seen a big spike in demand for dollars yet, which basically explains why the sell-off in the ruble was fairly short and not violent. Going forward, it's very hard to make accurate forecasts in this situation, but my concern is that if the epidemic continues to spread over Europe and the US, we are likely to see new waves of sell-offs on global markets and more pressure coming on the ruble and the oil price. The Russian authorities, including the central bank, have come up with statements saying that they are prepared to support financial stability in the country. The central bank basically said that they are prepared to make FX interventions to support the ruble if required. Although over the past 2 days we have not yet seen large-scale interventions on part of the central bank, which shows that thus far the local market remains fairly balanced and fairly stable. Basically, another tool apart from interventions that the central bank could use is the rate tool. The central bank, if required, can actually hike its benchmark rate. Although at the moment I don't think that's a real possibility, but in case the situation becomes more dramatic, chances for a rate hike from the central bank do increase. So in the meantime, we should be looking forward basically to what happens in the global economy, particularly in Europe and the US, how fast and how significant the spread of the virus would be and how significantly both economies are going to be affected. This would basically determine the way the Russian market and the Russian economy would perform in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.